Welcome to Maximising Efficiency with Dext. Once again, I'm joined by George Wells. And once again, we're talking about the world of settings within Dext and how we can help you maximise your efficiency. So today we're talking about tax settings. It's something I covered a while ago. Things are slightly different in our new improved version of Dext. And I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. George, where do I need to go to look at my tax settings?
Yep, everyone's going to think we're really boring just talking about settings all the time, by the way, mate. We need to come up with a different topic. But it's really important, right? We need to make sure that the account is set up right from the off. So head to your business settings again for me. And then what you're going to do first, if you could go into extraction and then tax. So what you're going to see here is the option to decide whether we want to extract tax in Dext. So this is where you're going to decide whether the client is VAT or non-VAT registered, whether you turn this on or off. Obviously, if the client is not VAT registered, then you'd want to turn this off.
Perfect. So I often have seen people when I worked in practice getting this sort of confused. So people often didn't know this setting existed within extraction where you could just turn VAT extraction off in total. So I'm going to navigate to the other bit where there is some tax settings, and these are the tax settings which you need to look at when your clients are VAT registered. But often people would come here thinking these are the only tax settings within Dext. And what I've gone to connections and gone to my Xero connection settings here. I'm just going to jump into manage in there. And what you'll see is we have a tax box there up here. And I would see people do all sorts of crazy things. So instead of turning off tax extraction in Dext, they would come into here and they would say, allow Xero to calculate. They would then go into Xero, make every single nominal code the default no VAT, so that everything that went over went into Xero as no VAT. And it was this crazy sort of way instead of just not extracting the tax in the first place from Dext. So George, what options do we have within here when a client is VAT registered? What can we customize when they are processing things into Xero? And it's very similar for the likes of any other integration, whether that be QuickBooks, Sage, Free Agent.
Yeah, it's a great point as well that you make. I see it with many firms when the information is not pulling through right from the start. So we need to make sure this is correct. And it's important to understand what these different settings are. So allowing Dext to decide with exceptions means Dext will majority of the time decide the tax rate, but what that includes is if we were to set a rule within our accounting software. So for this example, Xero, if there was a chart of accounts that was set to no VAT, but we published an item through with VAT, then Xero will overwrite that data that we filled in. Allow Xero to calculate, that just lets Xero dictate what the tax rate is. And if we allow Dext to decide, which is what we strongly recommend, Dext will determine the amounts based on what it reads off the receipt or whether you just manually set that in Dext itself. I would really recommend allowing Dext to decide. It's your source of truth. You're spending all your time reviewing the documents, putting in the work in Dext to make sure it's right when you send it across to Xero. It wouldn't make sense to have a rule in place where Xero then changes that later on if you've missed something. Perhaps you sent it to the wrong chart of accounts and Xero's overwritten all that work that you've done in Dext, then you've got to go and redo the work in Xero. So allowing Dext to decide is the best practice.
Perfect. Thank you very much, George. And yeah, we'll see you next time, hopefully with something different to just settings. But yeah, see you next time on Maximising Efficiency with Dext. Cheers.
See you later.